In LabKey Server 16.2, we have made some UI improvements for MS2 reporting. LabKey Server now imports more mascot data for MS2 than it had in the past. Users can drill deeper into this data as a result, but in many cases, more data may be shown than users want to see. So we have added some tools for filtering and data output to show users what's typically the most relevant data while still allowing them access to the full data set. For those of you who are familiar with the MS2 interface, you'll notice that under decoy summary, if decoys are present, there's now a new checkbox which only shows ion greater than or equal to this threshold. So this ion threshold currently is 13.1, but if we look below at peptides, we can see there are many ion scores underneath this score, and that's because we haven't yet checked this checkbox. But if we check that checkbox, we'll notice that now all of these ion scores that are underneath 13.1 have been filtered. And if we uncheck that checkbox, we'll see the original data set again. Now, if we change this adjust FDR to value, it will actually change the ion threshold. Say if we pick 0.1%. Now the ion threshold becomes 7.48%. But note, this is a little bit tricky here, that the only show ion greater than or equal to this threshold box is no longer checked. When you switch the FDR, this checkbox will become unchecked, and you'll notice here the ions are underneath that value again. So if you want to filter again by that new threshold, you'll have to check that checkbox again, so be aware of that. Also note that this filter value actually is a regular old LabKey filter, so you can manage it just like any other LabKey filters. You can even clear it down here if you like. And then notice that the other ions again become available and that checkbox became unchecked up here. Another feature that we've added to the MS2 reporting page is this highest score filter box under the view web part. What we can do with this checkbox here is that we can filter out so that only the highest score for a particular ion is shown. And what we mean by that is that a particular score, the highest ion score for a given peptide. So if we look at our example here, we'll notice that our KPLAPK.K, we have 3 entries for that peptide with different ion scores. We can see that there are 3 different scores for them here. Now if we'd like to only see the highest score for the highest ion score for that peptide, all we have to do is select that checkbox and hit go. And we can see that the other 2 have disappeared and the highest ion score, 12.19, remains. And if we uncheck that checkbox and hit go again, we can see those other 2 ion scores have returned, the ones that were lower than 12.19. So it allows us to filter down the data a little bit if we'd only like to see the highest score. Finally, another small change that we've added is retention time in minutes. It's more typical for MS2 processing for the people who do this processing to see it in terms of minutes instead of seconds as we had previously. And so now you can actually see that value in minutes as part of this peptides view. So that's new data. It's the same data that was available before, but in a new way. So you can see it a little bit more clearly, a unit you're a little bit more used to.